Hey folks, this is Bailey from Dank Wargaming,
Hey, this is Heath from Team Sable Hawaii.
and welcome to the Path to Redemption, the Warhammer 40,000 Dark Angels podcast, where our aim is to provide Dark Angels players with the tactical and hobby skills they need to compete and enjoy in this wonderful hobby of ours. Welcome to May. It's May. It's not May 4th, though, so we're not going to get mixed up with the wrong emperor, the false emperor, and his also false armored stooges. We're going to talk about real emperors and real Chad dudes in power armor, right? So, we've got kind of a shorter episode. Time's a little bit of a crunch. Lots going on. But we're going to talk about the Meta Watch. We're going to check in on the hobbies. We're going to hold ourselves accountable on the painting and whatnot. And we're also just going to sit here also with the potential that there might be a balanced data slate out soon. So we're just kind of in a holding pattern. And if that comes out, we'll try and either edit it in here or emergency meeting. You know, what's that game?
Yeah, we'll do
amongst
something.
Us, or whatever.
We'll figure something out.
Meeting. Yeah,
hit the
we'll
red
get
button.
it rocking. Yep.
All right.
So in new releases right now, no loyalist stuff.
Not much. Nothing. There was a teaser for a new edition of Horus Heresy. The system.
Oh, sweet.
So we don't no real other data other than that. Just wanted to. That is a thing that has recently happened. So,
what about the new drop pod? Did we talk about that last month, or was that right after?
I don't know if we did. No, that was right after. Yes, the new drop pod design. Once again, we don't really know a whole lot other than that does kind of indicate that there's new Space Marines coming, which is interesting. And
yay!
Yes, so as everyone is jealous that Space Marines get 2 looks during an edition, they're the first book out of the gate, which means they're the first one with the new rules. They're very powerful. And then they generally get a release at the end of the edition as well, because they've been power crept past, and then at the end of the edition they get an update, and all of a sudden they're the boogeyman again. But the new drop pod, unlike the old drop pods, which I have somewhere in my case over here, down.
Yeah, I got them in a box over
there.
Here.
Actually, they're the ones right behind me. Whatever, but they the new drop pods apparently do not have the option to have the doors deployed or not. They're always deployed. So it's basically more like a terrain feature. And they did say that there's going to be some rules about how to interact with the model that will make it. I don't know. So we'll see.
Well, that means you can't use it to block line of sight anymore. Because I remember that was a strategy for a while.
Yeah, and use it as a place to jump into, and I don't know.
Yeah.
So once again, we'll senseless to speculate, but they did specifically acknowledge in the little teaser they did that the rules for it will discuss kind of how to interact with it, and that it will be, in their opinion, more fair. They probably haven't thought of something that the community is going to break and abuse in the first day, but we'll see.
Well, the fact that the doors are open and it has this cool terrain piece on it, that means they'll be very interesting for the 9-inch bubble, right? Because they take up a lot of space, so it may or may not be useful to block them out, or you can use them to counter block people out because they're so big.
If I was the one doing it, I would not make them the doors count as part of that.
That's fair,
right? And also, I mean, it's a drop pod, right? It's not like you need to not drop near it, and it's not like it's not like I'm going to not shoot into combat with it. There's no reason not to. It's a disposable piece of equipment, right? So I will. So anyway, well, more to follow on that. We'll see how it goes.
That'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully, we'll get to see another video like when what was it, 10th edition came out, where the guy spiked it. Do you remember that? The secret lab thing with, I can't remember if it was Duncan. There was some edition where they're like, "Oh, we fixed how drop pods work," and they went into a back room of Warhammer World, and the guy spiked it onto the board like a football, and Duncan almost died because they just took a fully painted drop pod and spiked it.
Oh, man.
Because then they went out into the back and were digging. Remember, then they went to the back and they were digging through the trash, and somebody, I think it's Duncan, goes, "Are these new Sisters of Battle on plastic sprue?" And then it's the end of the video, and then a year later we got plastic Sisters of Battle.
And in that, I think it was the 9th edition teaser trailer or the release trailer, because I was a couple months in the pandemic, they had up behind Stu Black on a little whiteboard, it said plastic Angron, and literally everything on that list has come true. Plastic Angron, Plastic Sisters, Plastic Thunderhawk. It was just the Aeronautica Imperialis scale, squats, everything. So no. I see you. I got you, G-Dub. All right. Let's get into the meta watch.
All right. The meta watch. All right, we're gonna share the meta watch here. Do meta watch. Alrighty. So we got this here. So first list we're looking at is Lewis Archer of Mind Goblins. He was in 36 Chambers, number 4, a 5-round, 40-man event in Stockport, England. He got 4th place with Gladius Task Force.
I want to hold up a second.
And 1.
I want to point out, I respect, the 36 Chambers, right? So the 36 Chambers of Shaolin, 1980, fantastic kung fu movie. Also callback to Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers. From Wu-Tang's first album, which was named after that movie. I see you guys.
Yep.
I got you. Carry on.
Yep. I think I've seen that. Well, it used to be El Rey Network. They used to have Kung Fu, Death Punch, Flying Tiger, whatever Thursdays, and I think I watched it on there once.
Yeah.
But so here we go. We got I guess we use the sheet here. So we got Azrael. We got 3 Ballistus Dreadnoughts. We got a Chaplain and Terminator armor. 2 Deathwing Knight squads, Inner Circle Companions, 2 squads, a Judiciar, Lion Dad, and 2 scouts, and that's it.
Yeah, and the Judiciar has the Honor of Vehemet. Did you say the 5 Intercessors?
Oh, I might have missed that.
Yeah, there are 5 Intercessors. Five Intercessors in there as well. This looks like This looks like a pretty standard Dark Angels Gladius tech. Right.
Yep.
We all kind of know this works, right? You got strong shooting that doesn't require oath support. You've got Az and the Judy that'll go with the Inner Circle Companions to make them choppy. And you've got the Deathwing Knights. The Chaplain is probably going to go with the swords because that's the right way to do it. And the Mace Knights are just going to kind of do their own thing. Right, and scouts for screening shenanigans and objective play. Definitely no complaints here. Right, it's an oldie but a goodie. Right, and you know what you're about, then it will definitely work. Right, as you said, he went 4-1, took 4th place.
Yep, pretty good. All right, so we're gonna bounce over to Kyle here. He's playing at Perils of Geekery, 5-round, 45-player event in Shawnee, Kansas. Kyle McCord of Midwest Monsters went 5-1 with Gladius Task Force, but he got 3rd place. So let's see here. We got Azrael. I mean, and if you couldn't tell, right, green bar, pretty much everybody took it. That's what that green bar is out of the list. So Azrael, you're going to see a lot of that. Also 3 Ballistus Dreadnoughts. We got a Captain in Gravis armor, 2 Deathwing Knights, 1 Inner Circle Companion squad, 1 Intercessor squad, 1 Judiciar, 1 Jump Pack Intercessor, 1 Land Raider Redeemer, 1 Scout squad, 1 Stern Guard squad.
And this is a small Stern Guard squad. These are 5 Stern Guards, not the full squad of 10. So I would assume that Azrael's going to go with the Stern Guard to give him the rerolls into the Oath target, right, and also give them the sustained hits. Because 5 Stern Guards, 100 points, right, and it definitely, and they do not mess around in close combat either, right? So I'm a fan of the 5 Stern Guard, right? If you don't have the points for a full 10-man investment of them to really pivot a strategy around them, 5 of them is definitely fine, especially with Azrael, because they're a real force multiplier for Azrael. So, and the Land Raider Redeemer, what are we doing with the Redeemer here?
Well, I guess you can put most of those Deathwing Knights in there, right?
Well, a Redeemer can hold 14 models.
Quite a lot.
So if you put and 5 Deathwing Knights is 10, obviously.
I think a minimum, right? You're going to put the Inner Circle Companions in there to protect them, right?
Okay. Oh, so you could put both sets of Inner Circle Companions and their attached characters. And you just drive forward, open the front, and then out comes everything charging. So that is that's that definitely doesn't suck. It's just-
Yeah.
and that'll
your
let you
string guard
save
thing
your
reminds me.
yeah.
That remember, oh, it's so shiny. We're gonna remember Sterngard for Hobby Challenge at the end of the episode.
Okay.
That's my Stu Black
So,
moment.
mm, mm. The Judiciary in this one doesn't have a enhancement, but it has a Captain and Gravis armor with Artificer armor. So I think the Gravis Captain in this case is just there to be a pseudo lone op. He doesn't have lone op, but he's just a one 40mm base that does things and runs around and is just really hard to kill. Right? He halves only coming damage. The Artificer armor is going to give him a 5-up feel no pain.
Yep.
And 2-up save. Right? And he slaps in close combat. Right? But yeah, he's just going to be kind of an action monkey for a little under 100 points. I've seen that a few times. Right? Sometimes people do the solo character with like an ancient or a blade guard ancient just because they're cheap. But this is obviously more points, but it definitely gets you the opportunity to have him be a little more durable. So
yeah, much more annoying than just running the lieutenant with combi weapon. Like, he's annoying in his own way, but this guy's definitely like, you're going to have to throw more resources at me than just like a chaff clearer or a light anti-infantry chaff clear. Like, you got to send some dedicated smoke over here to deal with me.
And the more as you say, the more smoke you commit, the worse it's going to be, because once again he has incoming damage, right?
Yep.
So
he's
multi-damage weapons are not. Yeah. It's
we're classifying this as a distraction carnifex in the old school.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh yeah. Alrighty. Ready to talk about Joseph? And because Joseph, he's got an Unforgiven task force. So Joseph, I need some of your Texas here, Heath.
De La Garza. Joseph De La Garza of the Worst Generation. And this one, once again, we'll linger on this perhaps a touch more, is an Unforgiven task force at the Amarillo 40K Grand Tournament, right? So it is Texas. Amarillo being in the panhandle of the great state of Texas. All right, 5-round, 34-player event. Didn't go past round 3, but he was 2-0-1 in those rounds he did play. So I guess technically that's undefeated. And even with the taking zeros in the last 2 rounds, he was above 50%, right? So definitely worth talking about because it's an Unforgiven task force. So this is Azrael as a warlord. Then he has an apothecary, 2 Termi librarians, a lieutenant with combi weapon, a tech marine, 2 squads of 5 intercessors, a squad of 5 assault intercessors with jump packs, a brutalis dreadnought, a gladiator lancer, 10 hellblasters, 5 incursors, and then 2 squads of 10 terminators. Regular terminators, not Deathwing Knights, just bolter fisty, punchy terminators. Which is okay, what does this mean? So I think, so Terminator Librarians, their thing is they give sustained hits. Shooting and melee. So that's like potentially 40 bolter shots with sustained hits.
Yep.
Which is good, right? And I mean, they're 3 wounds each. They're 2-up armor, 5, T5, 4-up invul. Right? They're pretty chonky. They're not as, they're definitely a lot harder or a lot easier to get through than Deathwing Knights, but they're still Terminators, right? And do you actually keep one of these units in reserve?
There's potential for that. And then don't forget about the, because this is the detachment that has the shoot back when you get shot, right? And so you're talking about a bunch of bolters with sustained hits firing back when you do try and kill them.
It's not just with shoot back when you get shot, I think it's shoot back when you die, when a model is destroyed.
Okay.
So,
but there's still so many of them, right, that it's going to matter.
And the bolter, and depending on what's shooting at them, it's the bolters that are going to make it like. So having a bunch of bolters in there makes it so that you're like, do I want to shoot back? Or do I want to shoot them? And do I want to take 40 bolter shots?
Yeah.
It doesn't say what the weapon loadout is. I would imagine he probably has a couple of crack missiles in there, or the 2 cyclones, because 2 cyclone missiles will definitely. So that's 4.
They're free, and
4
they
crack
go with
missiles.
the bolter.
Yeah. So the store bolters are 24 inch range, 2 shots, rapid fire 2, so within 12 inches. Yeah. So that's interesting. I could, there's maybe some there, and then the Hellblasters go with so I'm most likely Azrael and the Librarian go with the Hellblasters. One of the things I've considered in the past is there's a enhancement in this detachment that that you can put on an apothecary that gives you +1 to hit if you are below starting strength, and I think also +1 to wound if you're battle shocked or below half strength. Right, and so apothecaries are fantastic for this, and Hellblasters, because you just overcharge. One of them dies. Now everyone else gets +1 to hit. Right, and you can just bring a guy back to life every turn to keep yourself at that 8-9 model range. Below starting strength to proc the +1 to hit. But so yeah, I mean, I love seeing the Unforgiven Task Force get some more experimentation. Right, and we're not just locked into Stormlance / Gladius, the only thing to do.
Yep. Well, and then also a quick quiz, although I think you probably will get this, Heath. This guy's got a massive title name, but it's a very famous quote. It's a litany against fear, but it's not from the universe.
Yeah, I mean, well, he tips it because he attributes the quote at the end of it, right? But yeah, I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings the total obliteration. Right? It's from Dune.
Yeah, although he spelled Atreides wrong, which I found
he
funny,
did spell Atreides wrong.
But I love that quote. I was so stoked when they kept putting that in the movie. I was like, don't mess with it. Don't abbreviate it. Don't do that. All right.
Nope.
So that was his list with the Unforgiven Task Force. Good job. Sorry you had to leave early. Hopefully it wasn't for anything too serious that you had to leave early. So we're going on to the Leoben Alpine Cup 2025 in Austria. We're going to pop over here to Conrad. This was 5 rounds, 219 players. And Conrad Schmuck of Warhammer went 5-0-1 and took 6th place with Unforgiven Task Force. And his title name was Dark Angels. And because I pulled this from friend of the show, Gerard, and the Angels Keep, he says, Conrad, come up with a more creative list names. Yes, we demand funny list names. Right, we like uniqueness. We like how we always know it's Toby's list, so we need something funny. Let's work on that.
Because the lion is in fact a Dilf.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
So let's see here. We got Azrael. We have an Ancient. We have a Judiciar. We have a Lieutenant with Combi Weapon. We have a regular Assault Squad. We have 2 Jump Pack Squads. We have 3 Deathwing Knights. We have Inner Circle Companions, 2 Scout Squads, and then down here at the bottom, we have 2 Vindicators. So Vindicators are still around, which is always good. See, that's something that needs up. They haven't updated with a Primaris Heavy Siege Bombard thing.
That's a good point. I would like to see that. Yeah, that's going to be whatever the. Well, I mean, something with a giant demolisher cannon on the front. That's floating on GravTech is going to need some sort of anchor system to shoot the grav weapon or the demolisher cannon. I don't know. That's fine. Cool. So once again, Gladius Task Force. Yeah, 3 Deathwing Knights, Inner Circle Companions. Right, the shooting is the double Vindicator.
Yep. Oh, so where does this Ancient go? Is he running around free, or is he popping in with the Inner Circle Companions? Is he popping in with one of these Assault Squads, or is he just chilling? It's not a Terminator one, so he can't go with the Deathwing Knights.
He could go with the Inner Circle Companions to get to trigger their character rules, but not commit Azrael to that. Even though, why wouldn't you commit Azrael to that? I guess. So that way, you could put Azrael with the Assault Intercessors to get, the reroll ones to wound for him.
Right.
This might just be and once again, the Ancient with the Inner Circle Companions would make them OC3.
Yep,
Which would not be bad, right? Or you could double up and have one big 8-character squad, and I mean he could take a power weapon. It's not a their combat output is not crazy, right? But the extra OC definitely wouldn't hurt.
So and then don't forget if he's on. Okay, so this is where he'd be fun in Assault Intercessors. Is with Unbreakable Duty, when he's within range of an objective marker within 6 inches of the center of the board, then he has the 4-up Feel No Pain.
Yeah, it's the model. It's not the unit that gets the Feel No Pain. Yeah. So.
Well, if you put him with Azrael, then he gets a 4-up invuln from Azrael, which he doesn't normally have.
Yeah.
And then so you can try and eat those out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I mean, like if you're to the point where you're putting wounds on him, then the squad is dead and he's lost the benefit of the 4-up invul save. Unless there's precision attacks coming in which case, why are you shooting at the Ancient? You're going to shoot at Azrael. So,
right.
Yeah, I guess I don't really. I mean, there might be a circumstance where you would want to put that in there and get basically 6 times 3 like 22 OC with 8 Space Marine models that you could put on an objective, but I think it's probably going to be better spent spreading across the 2 units. You probably want to put Azrael with the Inner Circle Companions because there's no vehicles in here, so you're not going to lose the CP generation, right? And Azrael with Inner Circle Companions is definitely very good. Oh, he does. I missed that. Oh, okay. So yeah, so the Judy would probably go with the Inner Circle Companions. My bad. And then
Azrael with
the assault intercessors.
Yeah.
Right. And then the Ancient could go with the assault intercessors as well, because he can't go with the Judiciaries, because Ancients can only join a squad if it's also led by a captain or a chapter master. And so or he just does the thing we said earlier and is a cheap 40-point backfield objective sitter / action monkey.
Yep. All right. We like it. So We're going to take a look then at the 4th Catechism. I'm going to pop over here to Harley. And we're looking at the 4th Cat 5 round, 19 players in South Africa. And Harley Millar with RGB Dungeon went 4-1 to get 3rd with Gladius Task Force. His title name is Maybe. So he had some doubts.
Commit, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
Commit.
So we got Azrael, yet another Captain in Gravis armor, Judiciar, Intercessor Squad, Blade Guard veterans, Assault Centurions, 6 of them, 2 Deathwing Knights, Infiltrator, Liquidator Redeemer.
Or as Gerard calls them, 6 chonky smashy boys. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
5 Stern Guard or 5 awesome Bolter Boys, and then a Vindicator. So we got the list here so you can see that there's definitely some unique picks in here, such as the Assault Centurions, which again, those have not been Primaris. So on the list of, as we're here wish listing this episode about new things that need Primaris, there are no Primaris Centurions yet. So be prepared.
So
now, I think also interesting, Infiltrators are not as prevalent. Like, this is the only list in this 6-week period we're looking at that has them in it. So that's kind of unique.
Infiltrators are definitely have come down off the auto takes. Right.
Yeah.
Wonder why that is. Well, okay, with the I think it's because we went away from the 3-inch deep strike possibilities. Right? And without a 3-inch deep strike, right? I really don't care about the Infiltrators as much. So it's not as hard to screen my objectives. Now that being said, I played against a Eldar Windrider host on Wednesday, and they can drop within 6 inches of you and also move 7 inches after coming in from reserve. And so I was like, well, there's no way to keep you off my home objective. This is unfortunate.
Yeah.
So that's a situation where that might have been useful. But okay, so Assault Centurions, let's get more into that. What are the Assault Centurions doing for you? They're just, they're a little hard to use because they're so freaking huge, right? Their bases are I think they're on 50 mil plus bases, right?
Yeah, they're massive. 50, 60 mils.
I think it's a 50 mil.
Right? is that they got so they got 3 attacks
Yeah.
each, hit on 3, strength 10, neg 2, 3 damage, twin linked, so they reroll their wounds automatically, and then they have what's probably relevant, at least I would find relevant in the meta that I've been playing in with a lot of knights, is that their Annihilator
Sustained
protocols give
hits
them
too.
sustained hits too against monsters, vehicles, and fortification units. So if you're playing a lot of big vehicles, these guys make them disappear.
Yeah, and in Gladius, obviously, you can do the +1 to wound thing when you
Yeah.
charge, right? And so,
Ooh,
I
and
think
they go to
in order to make them,
83.
well, if you're in the
Ooh.
assault doctrine,
Yeah.
uh, which, if I mean, you're probably going to be, because you need to be able to advance and charge, right? You need the advance and charge to make these guys kind of somewhat viable, because they're also they're T7, and don't ignore the fact that they're T7,
Yeah.
right? So.
Well, that also helps in some of those matchups with where you run into those T7 Terminators in Custodes. Like,
Yes.
yeah, that T7 is
Yeah,
a
Alaris
legit
Terminators,
breakpoint. Yeah.
yeah. So, I talked about this with I think Gerard a little bit briefly, and it was like, yeah, I mean, you just need assault and charge. You need to be like so Stormlance or something. But yeah, having the +1 to wound would definitely be helpful. And yeah, they will mess some knights up. The knights would not be
Well,
happy about seeing a unit of these guys.
and if you're going into not knights, right, they can take these what is this here? The Centurion bolters where they have 3 shots and they're rapid fire 3 and twin linked. That's a
Yeah,
lot of
so they basically
bolters
have
when there's 6
they have a
guys.
hurricane bolter, right? Or you can forgo the hurricane bolters on one of them to give them grenades, right?
Yeah, that's not too
So
bad.
yeah, they're interesting, and remember they also have twin linked meltaguns or twin linked flamers.
Yeah.
So I think the flamers are probably the thing that I would do with them. Just one, that's how mine are modeled, but the
Classic choice.
classic choice, yeah. No, I think because like the range is so short, and you're going to be advancing them almost all the time anyway, right?
Yeah.
That I don't think the 18-inch range, needing to get within 9 to be Melta is necessarily worth it. And hey, it's a twin linked ignore cover flamer, right? Or twin linked flamer, right? D6 shots, so that's going to be 6d6, twin linked, and they've also got the flame, the bolters, so that is really nice.
I like it. Yep, I like that. And then we're probably putting like in previous lists, Judiciar, probably I would say with Blade Guard, right?
Yeah.
With Honor Vehement, and then putting that in the Land Raider Redeemer to give him a little more life, which you could also put. Well, Azrael's probably going with the Stern Guard and staying on the board, but you could put him in the Stern Guard in the tank with the Blade Guard if you wanted to, because
rapid delivery of your awesome bolter boys, right? / shooting, / charging, because once again, out of the Redeemer you can charge, right? So, I think having the Blade Guard and maybe Azrael in the Land Raider is worth it. That's always an opportunity cost there, because every turn that Azrael's in the Redeemer, you're basically paying a CP to do it, because you're not getting a CP.
Yeah.
So,
but if you're playing cards and you're discarding a card right at the end of the turn, you're going to get it back anyway. That's the thing that I always run into with playing with Azrael, is that like in those early early part of the game, turn, right, you have cards you're not going to score.
Yeah, so it yes, you're now, like, there is a tactical play there. In Leviathan, that was more viable, because you could only do the burn a CP or cycle it to draw a new card once per game, and you wanted to keep that for when you knew you were going to get something that was more viable to get to be able to score. So burning is an objective that you couldn't score on turn 1. I was much happier about that, and so I had no issues putting Azrael into a transport for turn 1. It's less so in this one, or in Pariah Nexus, because being able to use Azrael's CP to maybe try and generate something you can score right? That's just the thing you need to consider there. But I mean, with the Redeemer,
Yeah.
what do you do with the Redeemer? You smash it into the middle of the board to get its Overwatch in the most effective place possible, right? And then put the guys out, and they're going to go charge and kill stuff, right? So,
Love it.
yeah, and then you're going to have your 2 squads, Deathwing Knights and Assault Centurions, just run up there with that flying V of booty. So, not a whole lot of range shooting in this list.
Yeah,
notice that
compared to
yeah.
There's no ballistas, there's no hellblasters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
no
definitely
Vindies, no gladiators. Yeah. Well, there's the one Vindy, right? But it is
that's still short range.
It's still short range. So this list is, look, I need to go take the midboard anyway. I don't. Why would I need something with more than 24-inch range? I'm going to be in the midboard anyway. So, okay.
Awesome. All right, we're going to go to Kieran now. So Kieran was at the Icebreaker 2025, GT 5-round 62 players in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Huh. That sounds kind of familiar. Oh, Skull. We're Skull in over here. And he has an excellent list name. It is Clever List Name Goes Here.
We see you.
Love it. So we've got Azrael, Judiciar, Lieutenant with Combi Weapon. The Judiciar has Honor Vehement because Gladius Task Force. Intercessor Squad, 2 Jump Pack Boys, the 3 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, 2 Deathwing Knights, Bolter and Scepters, 3-man, Incursor, Inner Circle Companions, Scout Squad, 5-man Stern Guard. So that's what's listed here. So you see there's a lot of carryover from all of our other lists in here. Somewhere in there, there's an erroneous Ravenwing Command Squad, so we're going to ignore that. This
is a very balanced list, right? With the ballista shooting, right? And the incursors I find interesting, especially because with your shooting background here, or with the ballistas, I don't know if you need the incursors. But okay, right?
Are they there for the Stern Guard and or the Inceptors then?
Maybe. Yeah, they could be. To give the +1 to hit. Yeah, +1 to hit, right? I mean, look, ballistas, they won't. You're not going to scoff at a +1 to hit, right? But I don't think it would necessarily be as needed, right? They don't infiltrate, but they do scout. So I'd be curious to see what he's doing with that. That's the only thing I'm a little curious about. Now, so you've got the Judy to go with the Inner Circle Companions. Azrael most likely goes with the Stern Guard. And that is definitely, it's a balanced, like, I've got, blunter melee, right? I've got a lot of shooting, and I'm going to be able to just kind of move to the middle of the board and play control games, right? And there's a lot of 4-1s or X and 1 lists here. So it makes you wonder if these guys were in, winning position and then just lost, or, 8th place means he probably wasn't top table, but he was on the 2nd or 3rd table. So, okay.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, a 5-round event to only lose 1 game, I think, is pretty good.
Yeah, man, return. You're doing way better than me. And a 62-player event, that's a major, right? That's a big. Or is major 64? I thought it was 60. I don't remember.
Might be, yeah. That's still good. And then also, I would, with the Intercessors, with their update, right, where they can just explode if they all shoot at one thing, giving a regular Intercessor squad +1 to hit, especially if it's an Oath target with no bonuses whatsoever. And then if you throw Azrael in there, which Azrael is probably in this list is in that squad. So you have sustained hits +1 to hit and Azrael. Blah. Because I've played that Azrael sustained hits into Intercessors shooting some like random scrub squad, and it's like, hey, you just pick it up. It's great. So
I had a brief moment where I was like, wait, do they shoot twice? Does that mean characters attached get to shoot twice with the objectives or the target elimination rule? Like, no, it's 2 to the characteristics of bolt rifles. And I was like, oh, damn it.
Suddenly the Lions roar.
I was like, oh no,
loud.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So the collector's market, Drop Bear Gaming GT played in Queensland, I think, Australia, 5-round 20
Queensland,
players.
Yeah. You didn't need to be told it was Australia. You didn't need to be
Yeah.
told it's Australia with a name like Drop Bear Gaming. So
Yeah. He went 5 more with the Storm Lance Task Force. What do we got here, Heath? You got 3rd place.
all right, so you got Azrael as the Warlord, the Combi Bolter Lieutenant, right? Which is the lone op guy, the Ravenwing Command Squad.
Yeah.
I'm already intrigued. 5 Assault Intercessors,
Yep, it's down here.
5 regular Intercessors, then 3 Flying Choppy Intercessors with jump packs.
Yep, right there.
Right, a Ballistic Dreadnought, 5 Deathwing, 3x5 Deathwing Knights, 1 with swords, 2 with maces, the Gladiator Lancer, the 3 Outriders, so 1 minimum squad of Outriders to go with your Raven Command Squad, then 2 squads of 5 Scouts. Okay. Yep. What do we got going on here? This is a Stormlance task force. So the 6 Ravenwing, so the Raven Command Squad in this is going to be the one benefiting from your -1 to hit and wound. Right, Azrael is most likely going to go where? Do you think the Intercessors, the Assaulters? Probably the Assault Intercessors, right?
You have that flexibility, right? That I've been playing around with.
Yeah, and then you just got a lot of stuff that's going to charge. It's just going to be moving forward, right? The Deathwing Knights are going to be, hopping from terrain piece to terrain piece, right? And then to stage, and then go in and do the killing, right? And then the Lancer for the shooting. Scouts to do your forward screening, right? /uppy downy, right? And then Combi Weapon Lieutenant to do the same general idea, right? And I think the Combi Weapon Lieutenant is a nice play because you can do the priority objective rule, where you basically pick an objective and you get reroll 1s to wound against everything on it, no matter what, as long as the lieutenant's alive. And so you basically just say every turn or every game, the center objective is my priority, because I'm going to be putting a lot of Deathwing Knights and a lot of stuff into the center objective. I'm rerolling 1s to wound, right? And I think that's smart. So,
which is why he's popping up in lists without the line, right? Because the traditional theory we've been talking about last episode is you have the line, you run a Combi Lieutenant. Yep, and it's he has other uses. So I like that. Yeah, and then I like the fact that he has the 3 Assault Intercessors with jump packs, because I love the speed. I love the fact that they're going to advance and they're going to charge. And they're
going to do impact mortals when they charge.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So they're clearing out, enemy scout squads or things that are trying to push up and do this and that, right? They can't deep strike if you want to deep strike them. I've gotten so far away from deep striking anymore that I almost forget that they can do that. But I mean, you can. So you can drop them in behind something, reposition them very quickly, and charge home field objectives if you wanted to.
Don't sleep on scouts in close combat, especially in Stormlance, where you can just advance and charge all the time. You do your forward deploy thing, and you know who's going first. You can scout move. Right now, you can't get within X inches of their deployment zone or an enemy model, but then you can move, advance, charge, and they're -1 AP now, and they can into stuff that's only 1 wound.
Yep.
A squad of Bolter Sisters, right, or Rangers or stuff like that. They can, don't put them in towards the middle of their formation, right? But something that's sitting close to an objective on a flank, right, or in a building, they can get in there and take that over and make somebody think that their flank is a little less secure.
It's one of those classic. Was it 8th edition? I think towards 8th, when all the Space Marines, when you could pick Assault Doctrine and everything just had -1 AP, and it's Space Marine combat is still Space Marine combat. We forget, because Space Marines are just it's just a Space Marine, but you put -1 to AP on a Space Marine.
And -1 AP is really nice, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just suddenly regular Space Marines are suddenly really choppy, because they just have so many dice, and then you throw Azrael in there with sustained hits, and you throw in reroll, Oath, you just start throwing in all the bonuses, and suddenly -1 is just stupid, which is what makes the Assault Intercessors with jump pack so nasty, is that when they put -1 AP on a Startaze Chainsword, it's suddenly anything with a Startaze Chainsword became
white relevant. White relevant, yeah.
Yep.
All right, last one is another Stormlance task force.
I was getting worried when we had all these Gladius task forces.
Yeah, I was a little confused. So, Host of Blades is the name of the list.
Love
From
it.
a 29 player 5-round event in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Mateus Damas of the Warhounds, right? So it took second. Okay,
Ooh.
I think that's the best finish we've seen so far today.
Yep.
So you got the Lion Dad, right?
Yeah.
Azrael, a Judy with fainting withdrawal. What's that one do? That's the one I think that lets you fall
Ooh.
back and shoot, right? You play Stormlance more than me.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. So where's he going that has guns?
So feigning withdrawal is in a Astartes model only. If they're leading a unit, they're eligible to shoot in a turn which they fell back. So the Judiciary. So maybe you. I don't see any reason why you don't put them on the Inner Circle Companions.
Yeah.
Simply because it's like, look, you had 10 points extra, so you might as well. There you go.
Yeah, I mean they have heavy bolt pistols, so again it's a -1
Yeah.
profile, but
Yeah.
you're gonna
Okay.
plink something.
So then you've got the lieutenant with a combi weapon, 5 bolter intercessors, right? 5 jumping intercessors, 3x5
Yay.
Deathwing Knights with maces, 2
Yay.
6 full squads of Inner Circle Companions, and 2 scouts. This looks like not a lot of stuff, but then I realized it has the lion in it. Right? And you're
Yeah.
always going to need to respect the lion who can move through walls, advance, and charge.
Yep.
So, yeah. And look, hey, I'm just gonna. I don't need guns. I have pistols. I'm just gonna put a whole bunch of melee in your face and see what you're gonna do.
I feel like this is one of those things where like he was 10 points or 20 points short and he
Yeah,
just threw feigning withdrawal on the Judiciary to fill
yeah.
space.
Because that's the only. Well, no, Portents of Wisdom is 15 points, right? Which lets you reroll advances, right?
Yeah.
And then the other two, Hunter Instincts and Fury of the Storm, those are mounted only. So, okay, yeah, it's probably just a point of hey, he's making up some points, right? If he was 10 points under and needed the points to make up, so sounds like a plan.
Or who hurt him where he wished he had fall back and shoot and he didn't have it, and so he's like, I'm
Yeah,
putting it in the list.
I mean, especially because the only thing they can put it with is, well, I guess you could go with the intercessors, but that is a bit of a waste considering that you've got 2 squads of intercessor companions. So that's definitely what it is. Okay, so I think that concludes our meta watch. What's the overall trend we're looking at here?
Well, I like the fact that you saw that there was Dark Angels players all over the world, right? Like how many continents?
Mm-hmm.
We had South America, Africa, Europe, and the United States,
Oh,
right?
you're right,
Like,
Africa. Yeah.
yeah.
No Asia in this one. No, and unfortunately, disappointingly, no Antarctica.
Australia, yeah.
No no
No
Antarctica.
Antarctica.
Guys,
You
you
should
need
fix
to
that.
step your game up down there at Murdo Station. So, and one
Wait, am I
Unforgiven
lying
Task
about
Force.
Africa? I feel like somebody played from Africa.
South Africa. Yeah, yeah. There's one from South Africa,
No, that's
which
right.
by
Okay,
definition is in Africa.
Right. It didn't say like Johannesburg or whatever in the list. So that's
Yeah.
where I was like, wait, did I
Yep.
just make this up?
Nope. All right. So we got Azrael and basically everything. Then Deathwing Knights, Inner Circle Companions, and
I'm going to pull this out so we can see those trends here a little bit. Yeah, so like the big thing, Azrael, Deathwing Knights, multiple Deathwing Knight squads, Intercessors, Judiciaries,
Jump Hack Intercessors coming back,
and Scouts.
Jump Hack Intercessors
Jump
Intercessors.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
Combi Lieutenant, a little bit. He's in about half the list. Inner Circle Companions are not in every list, but they're, in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lists. So that's pretty good. But, Ballistus Dreadnoughts are coming back. They were kind of going away for a while. They're coming back.
Mm-hmm.
The lack of Outriders, right? Like, remember we had that one list with 6 Outriders squads, and like I guess nobody decided that they wanted to replicate that, or if they did, it did not go very well. And then none of the weird allies, like no Armiger Warglaves or anything like that. No assassins. I noticed there were no assassins for once.
True.
But yeah, it looks like if you're gonna build,
I do remember that I saw Toby on Facebook saying that he's looking at the Armiger Warglaves as allies, just because high OC, fast, good combat, good shooting. Right, there's a lot to like. Now it's expensive. You can get 2 of them. They're 150 or so each, I think. But they bring a lot to the table.
Yeah. No, I've had to kill and fight enough of them that like it takes some dedicated resource to kill one of those things, and that's the trade game that you run into because like basically they could mess up a squad of Deathwing Knights. Yeah, they could mess up a squad of Deathwing Knights for half the points basically.
Yeah, because their chain cleavers are AP 3 damage, strength 10. They're going to wound on 2s and kill a non-Deathwing Knight Terminator in 1 hit and a Deathwing Knight in 2 hits.
Yep.
Right? And that freaking thermal spear they have is Melta 4, right? And it's 24-inch range. So from 12 inches away, this thing is guaranteed to kill a Deathwing Knight if it fails to save. Because it's minimum damage 5.
Yeah, not good. So yeah, I can see where that's a big fan because I hate having to kill them. I hate playing those lists where it's like, here's like 12 or 15 of these.
And there's so many, right? And that's the stat check is, hey, can you deal with 140 wounds worth of toughness 10 plus, right? And a lot of lists can't. So you need to roll a lot of 5s to wound. So
yep,
that's one thing. I mean, Dark Angels are better in a lot of things at that because most of our close combat is at least strength 6. So yeah,
we have
a lot of
dice. A lot of dice.
And you have
Inner Circle companions throw a lot of dice
with lethal hits, which is really important. So
yep, and then you have Macy Boy Deathwing Knights that are like, we don't care that you're T10.
Yeah, inconsequential to me. So
yep, I like that. Sweet. So that is the Meta Watch. I know, Heath, we've got some limited time, there really isn't massive featured segment. So
yeah, we're in a bit of an interregnum, right? Like there's going to be a new season dropping probably within the month. I think it was June last year, and when they've already teased it, they've already given some indications. So I wouldn't be surprised if sometime in June, at the very worst, early July, we see a new deck of cards, right? And so a lot of the list design and what's going to do this and what's going to do that is really going to be dependent on how that shakes out. So, which will be exciting because everybody gets to go back to the drawing board and we're going to have wild and crazy new stuff.
Yep, and if it isn't, there's a balanced data slate coming out in probably that same time frame. If there isn't a new deck of cards, and it's going to throw everything that we just talked about and everything we could say out the window, which if you've been listening to the podcast the entire time, that happens quite frequently. So we're just going to go talk about the monthly challenge. So
yeah, let's see what the Warhammer community website says. Sunday preview. Sunday preview as of today is Sorceress Space Marines. So it looks like K-Suns.
Oh boy.
Yep.
It's like, and this is why we have Watchers in the Dark. So make sure you have those painted. Like make sure you have them on the board. Don't forget them. Don't leave them at home like I've done. Keep them. You're going to need them going forward, which is another benefit of having Azrael in a squad.
There is a rumor leak out about what's in the Thousand Sons Codex. You could find it if you want to look for it. But all right, okay,
gotcha. So, the monthly challenge from last month was to do Librarians, because you were playing Librarius Conclave. You just talked to Rob Moreau about Librarius Conclave, so I went ahead and I literally finished him like an hour before we started recording with the basing. I've been working on him bits and pieces. I have 1 or 2 things I'm still going to do because I want to seal him, and because it's a matte sealer, I don't want to put my glow effect paint over the power axe before I seal it because it takes the effect off of it. Yeah. So I have to wait and do that last, and I'm just letting the the basing is still drying, but he is done.
You could always use you could always matte varnish the model and then gloss varnish the weapon, the blade.
I also thought about doing that too. That's both options are available. But I just anymore. Let's look what I so like the second thing I finished up is I think I've talked to you about this, Heath. The I had some leftover intercessors and leftover hooded heads
Yeah,
and arms for my inner circle companions, and so I was doing that today. I got them sealed this weekend, and then
that's where
I
I'm at
came
right
back
now.
and did the swords today. So
I'm working. I finished
oh
a bunch
yeah,
of these are Black Templar sword brethren that I did up as inner circle companions. You know, a little bit of OSL on
so
there,
jealous.
right? So I
I
have
love it.
a whole stack of these guys, and I've got
Nice.
yeah. So this will
Yeah,
put me
that's
at the ability to field 3 squads of 6 inner circle companions. So
yeah. I'm gonna have to get another box of these guys and then a box of inner circle companions to try because we talked about it, and I need to get another box because I'm gonna keep the 2 guys I took from this box and use to make company heroes. So I only
okay,
have 3, right? And so I have 8. So I need 2 more, and so I buy another box. I get the 2 more. Now I have 3. Oh no, 3
yeah,
leftover guys with hoods. What could I
okay.
use them
There you go.
for? And
There you
and
go.
I think that's how I'm gonna do. I may have mentioned that already, but I'm just gonna throw it out there again because this is the part. This is my favorite part of the hobby, right? Is like doing
Yeah,
this, and I'm gonna and when I do that, there will be videos. I don't know if you've been looking at some of the other stuff I've
I
been
saw some of
uploading for
your
the other
firefight
games,
stuff. Yeah,
but there will be 40K content with a countdown. I think I talked about this too
it's
before, but like this is my first weekend to like sit. I've been sitting in this chair for probably 6 hours today because this is the first time I've had time to actually sit and paint, and I've painted literally a little bit of everything. It's insane how much. Like I'm surprised my hands are as clean as they are because I have been painting literally for like 6 hours today, and it's been
nice.
amazing because I haven't had time to just sit and do that for oh my god forever, and it's been
I
great.
had
So
I had Joe over last night for a painting night, right? And
oh yeah,
he's working on White Scars. Actually, he's got a whole White Scars army coming out, and he's learning how to paint Space
oh
Marines because
baby,
he's never played Space Marines before. Really, he played Blood Angels a little bit like 10 years ago, but doesn't really count.
yeah,
So and he's yeah got some really cool stuff applying some of the techniques we learned at a class at Adepticon, right? So it looked
nice.
really good. So yeah, and then I'm actually going to go here in about 10 minutes. Leave to go down to the game store and play. I'm working up for a tournament later in the year, and so I'm trying to play both Wednesdays and Sundays.
Yep.
So yeah,
So and then you have your librarian Heath.
I have
You had one in your
3.
hand, and then you put him back
Well,
down.
no, those were the inner circle companions,
Oh, it's just
or
them.
the converted inner circle companions. I've got librarians over here in my box. Um,
Oh, okay.
do I have one that I finished paint? I'll have to see if there's one of them that I put paint on this month. I think there's one of them that I did. Right,
Okay.
so I'll
We'll just get
take a
the
look at it.
pictures later and
Yeah.
post edit. And then this is what I'm going to work on for my hobby challenge.
Okay.
I want to
The
work on
stern guard.
these because
I've got a
I
full
need to
squad
build
of
them.
stern guard. I don't know if probably gonna finish these inner circle companions. That's what I'm gonna work on. So that's because that's what I
Gotcha.
need to do. So
There we
yeah,
go.
and I've got
So we're
and I
gonna
have a neat conversion actually.
Roby boys, sneaky
Robe
Roby
boys.
boys.
So I'm actually working on because I wanted so because I bought basically 4 boxes of inner circle companions. One for one. So I built 2 full like actual squads. And
Yeah.
and then because in the last squad I converted up with I said the inner circle the sword brethren and a couple other things,
Yeah.
but I wanted a model to have the the big like inner circle companion banner or like like standard, and I didn't none of those sword brethren models work for that, but what I found does work for it
Here we go.
is Captain Lazarus.
Oh.
So yes, I pulled a Lazarus model
Oh.
out, and just I'm converting it into a single inner circle companion model because I want it to look. I want all my inner circle companions to have that same standard. right? And it's a dope pose.
Okay.
It looks cool, and so I don't know what I'm gonna do for the right arm yet, but if I'm gonna have I don't know if I'm gonna have a pistol or try and find a cool sword for him to have. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that. So
Okay, I like that. And then I will tell you that the Lazarus helmet under the arm is such a fun piece to like throw around on literally anything.
I was
So,
thinking if I trimmed the little wings off of it, could I have him like with the hood down, holding his helmet with the standard and like the sword on his back? I thought about that. That might be cool.
ooh,
That might be neat. That
ooh.
might be neat. That would be very unique. More on. I'll get back to you. so yeah, more on that.
This is why
More
we do
on
the
that.
podcast. Am I right? All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, Roby Boys, unique
Roby
Dark
Boys.
Angel Roby Boys. Well, I guess not unique Dark Angel, but Roby Boys. Roby Boys
Yep.
for June. So,
Sounds good.
community comments. So we have Alan Wraith Raider in the comments saying, "Funnily enough, I tried an Armiger recently as a second to a Ballistus, and it was decent. Reserve strat into melt range, but not army detachment rules means that the hit roll is swingy, and not having the range, save, and number of shots as a Ballistus is a thing." On the other hand, it is faster. It has decent melee. It's OC8 and has an invuln against range, so it's a hard choice. So if you were running
OC8 is
Ballistus
a
and
lot, man. Yeah.
yeah,
OC8's a lot.
so
Yeah.
I could see that being a thing. And then friend Gerard over at Angels Keep says, "I'm in the weird position of having 3 Dark Angels lists I want to play. I have a Stormlance list, a Librarius list, and a revamped Company of Heroes list." And then Alan says, "Only 3. I have loads and not enough time. Plus, I'm wanting to hold
Yep.
on to my ITC ranking means I have less motivation to try weird stuff until I hit a certain point." All right,
Also
so
true.
which
No,
I understand
I
all
wrote
those
up
things.
I wrote up a Stormlands list with the Assault Centurions, and I was like, no, I need to practice my Librarius. No. So, yeah, we'll see.
And then this other one is pretty funny. There's just this account called OP needs nerfed, and it says Dark
Yeah.
Angels OP need nerfed, and I said not yet, not until after War on the Shore 2.
Fortunately,
so this is the monthly
the data
plug
does
for
not
War
bear
on the
him
Shore
out.
2.
Yeah, fortunately, the
Yeah.
data does not bear him out, right? Okay. All right. Yeah, short one, good, short bit of goodie. So we'll reconvene towards the end of June.
I'll have a big sunburn from the Indy 500 because I scored a free ticket again this year, so that'll be fun. I'll have my farmer's tan, look like a raccoon with my where my sunglasses are going to be.
I'm going to Japan in a couple of weeks for vacation.
Yeah.
So that'll be neat. Probably no 40K in there. If I get a chance to stop at a 40K store in Tokyo or something, I might try that. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see how it goes out.
It's
My
funny.
wife
The
knows
guy I
that
was talking to on the
I usually plan like one of the things we plan for our vacation is like there's got to be
Yeah.
something involving a boat, something involving a high place to look out and take pictures, and something involving a game store. So we'll see how it goes. But
Well, it was fun. Right before the podcast, I was talking to a buddy that just got back from Japan, and he went to Tokyo, went to the nerd spot where like all the Gundams and stuff were. And I'm like, "Well, did you go to the Warhammer store?" And he's
Akihabara.
like, I didn't find it. Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
I didn't find it. And I said, "Come on."
Akihabara is a lot. Akihabara is very overwhelming. It's So I've been there. I've been there several times. I pulled in on a boat or on a submarine to Japan. I legitimately have lost track. It's somewhere around 10. And getting up to Tokyo is not terribly hard, but you just don't have a whole lot of time there. Based on you have to get up there and like you got a few hours. You got to get back. Right. Staying up in Tokyo is tough to do on that schedule. But we're going to be in Tokyo for 5 nights. It's actually really cool. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, we're flying out
really
in
cool.
6 days. So,
all right. Yeah.
Cool.
So
Sounds good.
On that note, we're going to fly out of here. So thank you all for listening to this month's episode of The Path to Redemption, the Warhammer 40,000 Dark Angels podcast. Our next episode will come out in June after Heath gets back from Japan and I get back from the 500. So please subscribe and like and comment below if you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on your preferred podcasting service. Hopefully we'll have something like a balanced Dataslate and or a new season to talk about by then. So that episode might get pushed back to later in June now that I think about it. So be prepared for that. There might be a little bit of a gap because we're trying to capture as much cool stuff as possible. But last but not least, we'd like to thank Purple Planet for the use of their music. And until next time, I'm Bailey from Dank Wargaming.
Hey, this is Heath with Team Table Hawaii.
Stay loyal, Angels.